Welcome to the Get Smart with Money podcast. I'm your host, Dana Hernandez, financial planner and author of Get Smart with Money, Break Free from the Struggle, Build Wealth on Your Terms, and Rewrite Your Money Story. Here we talk about money, entrepreneurship, growth, and resilience, because financial freedom is about more than just numbers. Each week, you'll get practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the motivation you need to stress less about money and create more freedom in your life. Let's get smart with money together. Thank you for coming back to another episode of Get Smart with Money podcast. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Lori Pappas. She is an entrepreneur. Her first business, though, was a for-profit business. Her second was a nonprofit. And at 75 years old, she has started a third career. She's gone from nothing to becoming a humanitarian and doing humanitarian work in Africa. And I think she's just the definition of it's never too late to start what you want to do in life. So thank you for being here, Lori.
Oh, thanks so much, Dinah. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. So I'm really excited to talk to you because we just had a nice chat about what we're going to talk about. And I found out that you are where a lot of my family is in Santa Rosa, California. So that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. Do you like wine?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wine,
Yeah.
good food. I like seeing the deer and the turkeys, and it's wonderful. I think it's
Yep.
great.
Yeah. My grandma used to live in Windsor, and she was right across from the Sonoma airport. So we would always see the planes take off. They have that little air show in August every year. We'd see from just the porch. We'd just watch it from the porch. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's just an amazing place and so many things going on. There's so much local community. People are very friendly. It's a very artsy area. A lot of writers, a
It
lot of
is.
wonderful art, and
Mm-hmm.
great wine. So there
Yes.
you go.
Great wine. So what is your favorite thing going on in your life right now?
My very favorite thing, my absolute favorite thing, is when all of a sudden I get a review from somebody someplace in the world about my book, and it says that it really has helped them find more inner peace or deal with something. I'm absolutely thrilled when I hear from readers that they now have been able to put, I have this dream model that we'll talk about, but it's helps you really put what it is you need and you want into action by harvesting your own wisdom. So that's what gives me the most thrilling
Wow, that's
sensation.
awesome. Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
like touching lives everywhere.
Well, the thing about it is I'm one of those people that I've been really lucky. I've been given gifts. Not that I had an easy life. I grew up in a pretty bad childhood situation and so forth. I have wonderful resilience, and I guess I've just never thought of myself as a victim in any way. And it's always been, how do I leverage this? How do I leverage that? How do I figure this out? And I'm somebody that gets bored easy. So I love learning new things and I like trying new things and going places and meeting people. And I just think that there's so much that's available.
There is. And you're making even more available, especially with your book.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm meeting such cool people. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful time for me.
That's awesome to hear. I love that. And so I like to talk to people about their money stories because everyone has some sort of different money story, whether it was good or bad or you don't really
Right.
have one, but it's something to talk about. And I think that if you think back on these stories, we can connect different points. Hey, oh, maybe that's why I think like that type of things can happen. So, what would you say your money story growing up was to maybe how compared it is now?
The listeners need to realize I'm pretty old. I'm 76.
Okay.
So back in my day when I
76 years
was,
young.
huh? Well,
76 years young.
back, yeah, I grew up in what was considered at the time a middle class family, and meaning that we didn't have problems with having money to buy food or housing or this or that. My father was a superintendent of schools, and my mother was a religious fanatic, and that's another whole story. But from a money standpoint, I didn't get an allowance or anything. So if I wanted anything, I had to work for it. And I had a little problem stealing for a few
Oh.
years there because I wanted it's like the other kids. And that was the way I did it. And that's a different story. But I ended up, by the time I got married the first time when I was 19, and and we didn't have much money. We were able to afford a house, and I worked, and my husband worked, and I got divorced when the girls were 4 and 6. And at that point, they I really didn't have any savings, but I ended up starting a business. And I started my business, I had a total of $1,500. And and I didn't get child support or anything like that, but I just worked really hard. And I always was able to figure things out. I can remember in my early days, I was early in the tech industry, and and I had these little girls. I wanted to start my own company. And so microcomputers had just come out, and I became the expert for the banking industry and to teach bankers what a microcomputer was, what was word processing, what was a spreadsheet, what was a filing system on a computer. And I can remember being pregnant with my son and carrying these heavy desktop computers up to an elevator and lugging them up to a classroom and then standing up all day teaching and then going home to these little girls. That's what it took. And that's what I did. And but what was it, probably 15 years later, I was able to sell my business and retire. And
So
it
what was
was
your first
just a
business?
matter. It was a software company for manufacturers. And
Okay.
here I was, this young woman telling men how they were supposed to run their business,
Yeah.
which really wasn't done. But
And you were
we
pregnant.
and oh yeah, and then I had a son when I wasn't married, and then I ended up marrying the second guy, and that one wasn't so terrific. And but through it all, it was I was lucky in my market, and I really worked to understand my customer, and we had a
Okay,
good
yeah, that's
product.
important.
Yeah. So halfway at 50, I then had money. And the one thing I really wanted to do was to make sure that I didn't just spend it on myself, on my family. So the first thing we did was started a nonprofit.
Okay.
And but my husband was involved in that, and that didn't go so well. So I ended up getting divorced, and I took my half, which I had earned the whole thing. But anyway, I took that, and I ended up starting a nonprofit and ended up living and working in Africa. So
That's so cool.
you need money. And I'd say the biggest thing that really helped me is I really made sure I didn't spend more than I had. If I had to live with nothing, I lived with nothing. And once I earned more, then I maybe bought more, but I always made sure I paid off my credit cards. And
Hmm.
that really is something that helped me tremendously
So,
over my
what
life.
was your system to paying off your credit cards?
I just wouldn't charge. I went, I can remember eating for 2 weeks on $4.
Oh, wow.
I just would not allow myself to spend something. And if I didn't, if I had anything to wear, I'd wear that. It just, I just really, that was the one thing that really helped me not go into debt.
Do you think
Uh,
that was something that you learned on your own, or was that passed down to you at all?
I think that my parents pretty well lived within their means. They weren't flashy. And my father came to the US as an immigrant and didn't speak the language and was bullied and beat up on his way home from school, but he ended up working his way through college. And that work ethic, I think, was a real gift to me.
Hmm.
And so I don't recall ever feeling entitled.
That's
And
awesome.
quite frankly, Dinah, I think that's one of the challenges so many young people have nowadays is this feeling of I'm supposed to be able to have this, or why shouldn't I have this? Or maybe with social media, you see what other people have and you so much want that.
Hmm.
And um, and that I think really is what allowed me to stay pretty well debt free
Yeah.
is I was just willing to go without.
Mhm. You're not really comparing yourself to other people and trying to flash off like that.
And I
Yeah.
know my kids have struggled with that. My daughters have struggled with that. They've
Yeah.
struggled with, and I think probably what's made their struggle even harder was that because when I sold the business and all of a sudden we had money, then they felt well, they should be able to do this or that. But no, they were now adults and they needed to
Hmm.
learn how to earn and stay within their means. And that's been difficult.
Yeah, it can be difficult. Lines get blurred sometimes, especially with all that social media presence, because it's everything's in your
I,
face all the time.
I would imagine that really does impact you, doesn't it? Your generation, that seeing that and people showing their great meal that they have, or this cool place
Yeah.
that they've gone, or this new outfit that they've purchased, or any of that. And that makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah,
one of the,
it does. It does. I think
yeah,
like you were more already set in your habits and your ways on how to control your spending and things like that. You knew your reasons already for years and they're just coming up into the world. And so was I. That's why I put myself in debt probably too. And I just didn't have all those habits and ways set yet. So lines got blurred.
yeah. And one of the things that really ended up being an advantage to me, and it really sounds strange, but I refer to the fact that my mother was a religious fanatic. In fact, you'd call her religiously delusional because she spent my childhood believing that I was possessed by the devil.
Oh,
And because I didn't believe what she said, or I sassed and I was independent, and she didn't like that. And her final thing was she convinced my dad to put me in the nut house.
what?
And back in those days, I'm not exaggerating. Back in those days, they were doing lobotomies and
Yeah.
shock treatment and awful stuff. A girl in the room next to me had shock treatment and she was being threatened with a lobotomy. And they were feeding me all these pills and I was feeling really fuzzy and woozy and I couldn't I couldn't manage my mind space. And
Hmm.
and I realized it was the pills. So I figured out how to pretend to swallow, but to not swallow the pills.
Like the movies.
And
That's
I
crazy.
managed to get out.
Wow.
And I had to move across country and I ended up living by myself at 17 in San Francisco. And anyway, but to dial back to the swallowing thing, I think that taught me this huge lesson that I don't have to swallow what other people are saying. I don't have to swallow what other people are doing. I have a choice. So
Hmm.
at barely 17, I really learned that I have a choice. And I took responsibility for that I had the choice because I didn't have, when you're in the nut house and being threatened with a lobotomy, you don't have a lot of other options. You've got to
Yeah.
get out of there. And so getting out of there then allowed me to really get it. It got through my stubborn head
Hmm.
that I had to become the curious entrepreneur of my own life. I had to take charge. And whatever was going to be was up to me. So at
Hmm.
17, I took that. And I believe that's what made me successful.
Yeah, a scary experience like that. Yeah,
Ah, it
for
scares the shit out of
sure.
you. I mean, it's sorry,
Yeah.
but it really does.
Yeah, that's crazy. Don't come across
Yeah,
those stories all the time.
no. But when you really, so you stop and you think about that, and some people could say, oh dear, oh poor Lori, oh my God, that must have been horrible. What it did was it was the catalyst that helped me then become more resilient, more self-reliant, and I was tough. I became a tough cookie,
Wow.
a little too tough, but I became pretty tough.
That's a really good story. I think I'm gonna remember that. And you said if it is to be, it's up to me,
Yeah,
basically.
all I
I
have
love
to do
that
is do
saying.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all I have to do is do it. And it's not, I'm not trying to oversimplify because people have real struggles and people have real challenges. And nowadays, you wake up in the morning and you hear this news or whatever, and it's, oh no, I can't handle anymore.
Hmm.
And that's not a way to live. It's not. People want to be able to say yes to something. And so, what I try to encourage people is they can say yes to themselves. They can say yes to honoring what they've been able to do. No matter what your struggle is, you're still sitting here listening to this.
Yeah,
You're here. You've made it. Congratulations. And you've made the choice to turn on a podcast such as this, to listen to something that might be inspiring and helpful.
exactly.
You're definitely a curious person, or
Yeah,
you wouldn't have
definitely.
turned it on.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
And so then it really just comes down to taking the time to pause and reflect on what it is that you do know and how can you put that wisdom into action. So that's where I'll give you a clue. It really comes down to a little word, and that word is dream. And I
Hmm.
don't mean just a fluffy daydream, a really big D for what is it that you really need? D is for desire. What do you need? What do you want? And then R is, well, reflect. What do you know? What do you know that could help you? And then E is explore. What else should you learn? And you've got internet, you've got all this resource. What else is there that could help you get what you need? And then A is acknowledge. Acknowledge you're here. You're doing it. You're doing it. You got it. And yeah, you're going to make some mistakes, but that's okay. That's where you learn. And then M is the mantra, and that really is those words of encouragement and what helps soothe you and keep you moving down the road.
Hmm.
And that's what my readers are saying. And then when they learn to dream, then they feel like their life's transformed. They can embrace their own wisdom and they can experience that because you've
I
got
love
it,
that.
got it, you've got it inside.
Hmm. Yeah. I love doing this type of podcast because anyone who listens, like you just said, they are wanting more. They're here to listen. Bless you. They're here to
Just then.
bless you. Yeah, they
So
want to know more. They want to just hear something that can maybe help them, maybe hear a story. And I love the fact of stories, period, because somebody's story is someone's meant to hear something out of someone's story that can help them. Because I don't know, I've heard many speakers now, and just some things in my life, it like reverts me back to that person's story, and it just helps. And the resilience that you said you had to grow up with, you're resilient because of that. So I was like, oh, I can actually, I'm gonna go back to your story, I think, too, at moments in my life.
good, good. Because it really, you think back at those different moments in your life, the different struggles. What is it that you learned from that struggle? And how did you get through it? And if you really think about, I'm still standing, so I got through it. Now, what was it that I did or what happened? How can I learn from that? How can I harvest that? And
Exactly.
and the real secret though is that pausing and reflecting because you have to take time to think. You need percolation time. Things have to have a chance to percolate
Mhm.
and to come forward.
Yeah, and that actually will bring me to my next question, because that sounded like a reset. Because when things happen in your life, you have to take a step back and be like, all right, so what did I do to get out of that situation or to just be better from that situation? So, what do you say would be your most or one of your most significant reset stories?
I think the reset story that I told you the reset story that really helped me take responsibility and the choice and all of that. And that was
Hmm.
when I refused to swallow pills.
Right.
Another big reset for me was when I had started this nonprofit. I thought, oh, I could do it easily because after all, I was a successful entrepreneur. I didn't know diddly shit about creating something and working in Africa and all of that. But I knew I wanted to give people a chance to have a healthy life. I don't think it's fair that little girls are being born into disease-ridden lives. And I wanted to do something to really help. And so, of course, I picked the hardest area to work, which was in South Omo region of Ethiopia. And and I ended up hiring a lot of people and we implemented a lot of programs. I was able to get grants from different organizations. But when I would come home at night, I would be exhausted because of all the noise and all the harassment. And I had a lot of struggles with the government and so forth.
Mhm.
And I would get into my house and be all ready to sit down with a glass of wine, pretty crappy wine, but wine. And and the lights would go out because the electricity would go out. And I was just sitting there with my three little candles, and I was forced to think because I couldn't do anything else. I could just think.
Mhm.
And I started thinking about the day when I saw this little girl in the middle of the desert, the Sahara Desert, and how that had triggered me into taking on this second career and becoming a humanitarian because that little girl had flies on her eyes and she was about the same age as my granddaughter. And I thought, well, that's really not fair. What can I do? And then what do I know that maybe could help these people? What do I know how to do? What can I facilitate? What can I access? And that really was the genesis of my third career, in that I decided I was going to really work at sharing what I had learned so I could help other people as they try to navigate their chaos and their struggles and all the things that they want to say no to, but they don't quite know how. And that's what really motivated me to start framing things in a way that people would understand and could relate to, and collect stories of not only my story, but stories of other women that overcame different things and how they did it, and then how they've been able to find inner peace. So that was a major reset, a reset from going from being known as a doer. What is it that I can do? To a be. Who am I? How am I being? How can who I am benefit other people? And that's a major transition,
Yeah.
a scary transition, because it becomes so personal.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
personal
it's
and
very
you're,
personal.
yeah, and you're being super selfless.
Yeah. And so one could say, wow, you make yourself so vulnerable. Maybe in a way, but I don't feel vulnerable because I'm very
Hmm.
strong from within. I know, I know without a doubt that I'm a wisdom elder. I am. And what my role is now is to help those that are trying to access their own wisdom or wish they knew how to access their wisdom in
Hmm.
a way that could help them and their loved ones.
So
There we
what would you, I can just picture you like walking down the street, just like saying wisdom things to people. So what
go.
would
You
you
know what
say
I
to me
do?
on the street?
You know what I do? And it's true. I love to get grumpy people to smile at me. I do. I love it. There's a guy that sued me wrongfully, I feel, very wrongfully, and has lost. And I happen to cross paths with him often when we're walking more, because I walk my dog at 5:30 in the morning. And this guy comes walking up towards me, and I can just see him just, and I always say, "Good morning. It's such a great morning today. How are you?" I love it. And the day will come and he'll smile. The day will come.
That's funny.
It is, it's
That's
hilarious.
funny. Yeah. I mean, it's not that serious. Nothing is that serious.
It really isn't. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of and I'm not the only one. There are so many of us that are walking in this world today or have passed and we can still access or what have you, that if we just pause and make ourselves available, the gifts that are just sitting there waiting for us to pick up, they're just
Hmm.
so plentiful. It really
Yeah.
is. Even today, when there's really awful stuff going on in the world, and you can just start feeling really bombarded by all the negative crap.
Yeah.
We don't need to have that impact us inside. There are ways that we can really become sources of peace.
Yeah.
And that then really influences those around us. And it has a
Yeah.
wonderful ripple effect.
It does. And it just makes people gravitate towards you that are also in a good spot in their life or just happy, positive people. So I
Yeah,
love that part about it.
absolutely. Yeah, it's great.
So I want to talk about your book because I see it behind you there and I really like the cover. It's catchy.
It's beautiful. They did a beautiful job.
Yeah. So the magic of yes. I
The
see the
magic
big
of
print.
yes, embrace the wise woman within.
Awesome. So how long did it take you to write this book?
When I was over in Ethiopia, I started making notes and so forth. And I really didn't know how this was going to come about. And but when I had to leave Ethiopia because it became too violent over there, and I was forced to leave, and it took me like 7 years to recover. I
Mm.
was just so exhausted, and but I knew I had to write this book, and I really didn't want to because I didn't have any idea how I was going to write it. And it actually, the day came and I decided, okay. And I started putting out questions as far as trying to find somebody to help me. And I came across a really good editor that helped. And the actual writing took a year. And
Okay.
then it took another almost year for it to come out. And during a year ago, I had no social media platform whatsoever. I wasn't on it
Okay.
at all.
Mhm.
And nowadays, in order to sell a book or to have a platform, you've got to have a platform.
Yeah.
And and all this stuff has started to come together. And so now I'm on Facebook and Instagram and have a Facebook page and a Facebook group, the Wise Women Sisterhood, and LinkedIn was always easy for me because I'm a business person.
Mhm.
And and I'm getting to I really enjoy social media now. I love Zoom, and I love the fact that I can talk to people all over the world. In my Facebook group, the Wise Women Sisterhood, lady next month that's a member lives in Germany and she's going to do the workshop. It's so
Huh,
cool. It's
that
just
is
neat,
cool. Yeah.
isn't it? we don't have to have these artificial boundaries, these geographic boundaries.
Yeah, it's great. I love meeting people from all over the world on this podcast. Now I know people from like New Zealand, Australia, Canada. It's just
Isn't
crazy.
that cool? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
And right
trip for
now
sure.
I I actually have more followers in the UK than the US.
That's funny.
And that's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's funny. A lot of people need that then over there
Well, you know
because
what it is?
everything's so different.
I think I think the fact is that they're more into self-help and more into that mindfulness and so forth. I think here in the States, we get so caught up in the competition. It's such a
And money.
competitive environment.
Yeah.
And and that makes it difficult. It makes it
Hmm.
difficult to step off the gerbil wheel.
Yeah, it does. It does. For me, I've always tried to periodically take a step back and be like, all right, so how do I stop this habit, this cycle? Dog's barking. I know I always want to stop the cycle because I've never been without a paycheck. And I just, you know how you get comfortable in a job and it's no, like I don't want to be comfortable with anything like that. So I always try and be like, you know what, do I need a new job or do I need to switch something up here?
You would
So,
like, I also write a newsletter that takes glimpses of other people's lives and to illustrate a point. And just 2 days ago, I put out a new sticky thought, and it was on discomfort and how discomfort really can become your superpower, and how
yeah.
you learn to kind of shift with that discomfort. And it's one of a lady that I met as a on a podcast. She has one that's called Make Discomfort Your Bitch. And she's just great. And,
I need to talk to
and so
her.
we collaborate. But
That's funny.
you can check out Sticky Thoughts. It's a newsletter on Substack. You really don't want someone else to define you. I
No.
have learned that over and over again.
Mhm.
And I know I'm married again now, my third time.
Okay.
And when I met my husband, believe me, that's a real story. It was like, I don't expect me to marry you because I really don't like that idea at all, because
Hmm.
it wasn't a good thing for me. And Bill
Let
came
her
up with a
go real
line
quick.
that I think every woman should look for, and it is, why don't we just be unfettered and free together? Isn't that
Mm-hmm.
great? And he's caught that. He does that.
That's
And
awesome. Yeah.
if you can keep that in mind, I think that's helpful.
Yeah. Let me let her out of the room real quick.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
But yeah, no, he doesn't like define who I am. We're actually a power couple and we just work so well together. We just everything's just has been gliding the past year with him. It's just amazing. I've been able to save money, get more out of debt with him. We've been helping each other save and just our hobbies are art really. So we have just been collaborating on stuff and like canvases and I do wreaths on the side sometimes and he's gonna start doing tattoos again and he's also a sous chef at a restaurant so he's just putting all of his art into the plates like they come out so pretty. Yeah, everything's just great but yeah, that whole step there where he asked me to marry him, I was like, yes. And then afterwards, I was like, ooh, wait, like I'm no longer just a girlfriend. That's
Right.
very different.
Yeah, and that's really something to think about because you really don't want that to change you and you don't want it to change him.
Yeah,
So,
no, I feel the same, but also it's ooh, like
yeah,
exciting. Like it's exciting.
it is exciting. It is exciting. Definitely exciting. And
Hmm.
I hope that it just works great for you. It can be wonderful.
Thanks. Yeah, no, he's definitely the one. I've gone a long time just trying to find someone. I still don't have kids either, so we're planning on that and everything. But it's just funny how like I've never been so sure.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. I do really want your book actually, because
Great.
finding more inner peace, especially after we just moved and everything, I'm settling in. I'm trying to relax about money because I think I gave myself some traumas, but not having enough for bills and stuff like
Right.
that. So I'm trying to just calm down and chill out and stop
Good.
reverting back to my old habits and ways of feeling about it because I have a little
Great.
nest egg now. I need to calm down. So
Yes.
more inner peace would
Great.
be amazing.
Yeah. I- People are telling me that it really helps. It helps them. And what really helps them is that every chapter's got that dream framework.
Cool.
And then it's just like with the newsletters. They always end with then how that person put that dream framework into action because it really is all about harvesting your wisdom,
Hmm.
becoming aware of the wisdom that's inside you, and then turning that wisdom into action
Yeah.
and finding that if you have a set of concrete activities to follow, D, what is that desire? What is that need? What does that want? R being the reflect. What do you know? E, explore. What else can you learn? A, acknowledge. What is it that you've done that helped you get here? And to acknowledge you're going to make mistakes. And then M, it's really important to have something that your go-to phrase, your
Mm.
just like I was mentioning, my friend who is an expert on discomfort, and Cher's go-to phrase is, I might not like what I'm having to do or how I'm feeling, but I'm going to stay present. That's her
Okay. I like
phrase.
that.
So she makes herself stay present in her discomfort,
Hmm.
and that allows her to grow through it.
Yeah, that's
So,
important.
and people have different things that help them at different times. But so that's my book is more of a guidebook into how you learn to trust yourself, claim your voice, and say yes to you.
Okay. I like that. I need that. I think a lot of the listeners need that too.
Great. It's available.
Awesome. I'm going to post all your links and everything and your website and stuff
Great.
in the description of the episode. And I will definitely let you know when this comes out. In the
Perfect.
meantime, I don't think I have a headshot of you, so please send me one so I can
I'll
create
do
the
that.
artwork for this episode.
Perfect.
That'd be awesome.
Right.
So yeah, that was awesome. And your story was definitely super interesting, like going to the asylum, the nut house, like that is crazy to me. Like
It
I
is
some reason
crazy.
I like movies like that because it's just so like it's insane how
Well,
they used to do that. It's so like inhumane.
I know. And believe me, it's a lot more fun watching the movie than being the person in the movie.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just crazy that I talked to somebody that was actually in one of those situations.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
was a really good story.
I'll send you the I'll send you all the links to make sure you've got it all in one place with the headshot. And if you send me your mailing address, I'll send you a autographed copy of my book.
Oh, that'd be cool. I will return the
Yeah,
favor also once mine is out.
perfect. I look forward to it.
Awesome.
Okay.
That was an awesome chat. It was lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dana. Absolutely. And congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm like over the moon about it. So
Oh, good. I'm
it's
glad.
awesome. Thanks. All
Yeah.
right. Well, you have a
Okay.
fantastic day, and I want to stay in touch for sure.
Okay, please do. And please, I'm going to send you the link to my Facebook group. I'd love to have you join it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll return the favor with that as well.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Please like, review, share, and subscribe to this podcast, and follow us on Instagram at GetSmartWMoney Podcast, as well as checking out our website at GetSmartWithMoneyPodcast.com.